Don't look out.
And don't lean forward.
I'm supposed to be looking at you, aren't I?
Yeah, that's fine.
You meant to be looking at me, is
It
it?
doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't matter.
I'll show you the coordinator.
Test.
Okay. Brays, can you tell us a bit about when you started at the club as in juniors? Was it right from under nines?
Yeah, I think I played 2 under 9 years. I was just living actually at 47 Oak Street across the road, so it was pretty easy to pop over and participate in the training sessions that were going on. But yeah, a couple of years of under 9s and then under 10s, 11s, right through till under 16s, and then I was playing at a Parkdale one day, and Slug Jordan came up and tapped me on the shoulder 3/4 time and said, "You're playing with us next week down at the Dragons." So had a couple of years there, 3 years there before coming back to Bowie in '99.
Okay. How did you find Slug Jordan as a coach?
I found him great. A lot of people didn't like him actually. I think he was sort of one of those coaches who was pretty hard on the guys, and at that point in time, you know, the new age coach was sort of starting to come in. So, but I found him easy to get along with. I found his direct style of communication pretty good, and yeah, we had a really good relationship. Okay.
And then after Dragons came back, and did you go straight into seniors?
Yeah, I played my first game in seniors in '97. I had one game in '97, and then I played a couple of games in '98, and then I played '99. It was my first full year back after finishing at the under 18s and the Dragons.
Okay, 97 was a premiership year, so you played...
Yeah, I played with Rage and who else? There was Andy Easton was still out there at that stage, I think, and there was a lot of the old boys, Big Red. So yeah, had one game with them, and I can remember because I was only 16. I can remember just thinking how big everyone was, and yeah, it was pretty intimidating, but enjoyable. Loved it.
Okay, so did you play any under 19s, or did you go straight?
I think I only played one maybe under 19s game, but I think that's on the record somewhere. But I can't actually remember that game. Yeah. And
then fast forwarding to 2003, the premiership year, Brett Marchant was your coach.
Yeah, good year obviously, to finish off with. Obviously we had the tragedy early on in the year with one of my really good mates, Squids, passing away. And yeah, I can remember there was, during pre-season we were training together, and you know, there was a barbecue after training I think one night, and we were sitting back having a quiet beer and a sausage, and he was talking about how he was sort of thinking about playing soccer that year, but he decided to play footy instead, and he made a comment like, "Oh, you know, I just want to win a premiership with you, bro. I just want to win a premiership." And so, you know, that sort of stuck with me, I guess. And when he passed away, I was, you know, obviously pretty devastated, young kid, and you don't have a huge amount of experience with death, so. It definitely rocked me pretty hard, and I basically dedicated the rest of the season to him. And in the first game, we were playing, I think it was Caulfield here at home, and I've never been known for my long kicking, but I had a shot from about probably 35 out. I'd rolled my ankle during the day pretty badly, and one of the guys we were a couple of points down, and one of the guys on the mark was sort of yelling out, "Oh, it's not your day, it's not your day." And Timmy Collins was standing nearby, and he was like, "Yes, it is, mate." And we slotted that goal, and that put us up, and then we ended up winning that game. And that was pretty emotional just for the club, because it was the first game so close after Gwyn's passed. And I'd had rolled my ankle really badly, and but I couldn't train for a number of weeks after that. I didn't kick on my right foot the whole year at training sessions, but I made sure that I played every game because I was just so desperate to play every game. And yeah, in the end we we won the first 6, I think. We were off to a flyer, and then we had a really sort of poor form slump, 3 out of the next 9, and then we came home and we won 2 out of the last 3. So scraped in with sort of 10 or 11 wins, and then I think the emotion took over of everyone just really bonding together and wanting to do it for Gwids, and our form in the finals was just sensational, and we went bang bang bang, and even against, we played St Leo's in the preliminary final, and we were up by 15 goals in the last quarter, and I turned to my opponent and said, because they'd beaten us twice by 10 goals each time during the year, I said, have you guys got some players missing today or something? And he was like, no, you guys have just absolutely smashed us. And so we were just on a roll. Yeah. And then when it came to the grand final, we were just ready. And it was a great, definitely a great feeling.
Yeah. The red armbands were obviously for Gwids. What was the significance of the red ones?
It was his favourite colour.
Oh, okay.
So we went with that.
And BOG on the big day.
Yeah. Oh look, I probably don't think I deserved it, to be honest. But it was nice. It was certainly nice to get it. But I think there was a couple of other players who, Sherm was fantastic on the day, and Mick Atkins I thought was just excellent as well. So it was definitely a nice reward. But really the focus was just getting that premiership, and it was pretty exciting. I had the ball in my hands when the siren went, and I tried to run off with it, but the umpire came and grabbed it back off me. Let me tell you.
And what was I going to ask you then? It was a windy day from all accounts. It looked the little extraction was seen.
Yeah.
Mick Atkins kicked a goal from almost the centre.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he kicked a couple of massive goals. One from probably 65, 70 out with the breeze, just let it go, and then one from probably 45 out, hard on the boundary as well. So it was an exciting day.
And just getting back to the point about doing your ankle, you said you couldn't kick with your right foot for the whole season.
Yeah.
You're an actual right footer.
Yeah.
So you kicked the left foot.
I was kicking at training during the week. I was kicking left foot, and I just couldn't kick on the right foot at training at all. It was just too sore, and then during the games, I'd kick on the right foot and just end up, it would be swelling and swollen after the games and all that sort of stuff. But
was it a sprain again or not break?
It wasn't a break. It was just a bad sprain. I probably should have had a couple of weeks off, and I probably would have been alright for the rest of the year. But I was so keen just to keep playing. Basically, I just was so determined wanting to play every game, I suppose. So for Gwids.
And then post 2003, did you go up to the Zebras? Was it?
I was at the Zebras at 2001, and then 2002 I was overseas. So so I missed a couple of years there after playing 99 and 2000, and then came back at 2003, and then I was away again overseas 2004, and then came back 2005, and then from then on I've been playing.
Okay. So BNFs in 99, 2000 significantly in 2003 for the premiership year. In 2008, only player for Bowie to win 4 best and fairest. It's a bloody good feat, mate.
Yeah, it's nice. I can remember JT coming up to me during the 2008 year and he was going to kick my ankles or something because didn't want me to win the 4th. But look, it's definitely it's something I'm proud of. But I'd have to say that being captain of the club is definitely something that I'll look back on with a great deal of fondness, and just being involved in, I guess, the change that's taken place over the last few years to really progress the club forward with a chance of now, hopefully this year playing B grade finals. And so just being a part of that group has probably been the number one thing that, you know, I'd say I'm most proud of, you know, having been at the club and being involved in that period of time, because I think we've come a long way, and I think I genuinely believe that we're in the next couple of years, you know, whether it's this year or next, you know, we're going to get a crack at A grade, and that's what a whole bunch of people, you know, right from players through to coaches through to committee have been trying to attain, and so just to be a part of that would be sensational.
Okay.
You know, so the premierships are definitely the thing you play for, but you know, being a part of that group has been great.
Okay. I'll fast forward to 2010. Pretty remarkable year and pretty remarkable final series. You had issues with your hammy leading through the final series?
Yeah. Unfortunate injury. Was sort of halfway through the year, I think. And actually, prior to that, I think I don't think I'd missed a game since like 2005 or 6. So I played a lot in a row and had been fairly durable, but the hamstring went at training just before we're about to play Caulfield. Actually, big game against Caulfield, and it was not a huge. It wasn't a terrible injury, but it was still going to be a 3 or 4 week hamstring, which it took. And to get better, got through the first game back against Ajax, played 50% of the game, got through, felt really good, and started to think, okay, now I need to put some work into my body again. After doing the rehab, and tried to go a bit too hard during the next week of training, and re-injured it, and so that meant that I missed the next 3 games, which included the first final against Caulfield, which we lost, but was able to come back, and luckily they picked me after having played 50 minutes or something in 8 weeks, straight back into the preliminary final against Ajax, and we got the job done there and then got an opportunity to play in the grand final.
Okay, and the grand final, pretty special day given the margin, but probably even more special given that 45 points down at quarter time. What was going through your head at quarter time?
Look, I can honestly say that when we came into the huddle at quarter time, there was buoyancy, because we knew that we hadn't touched the footy, and so we knew that if we could just get our hands on the ball, we can actually use the massive breeze that was going down one end. We could use that in our favour and get back into the game, and so there was no hint of anything other than optimism when we all came into the huddle, and I can remember just looking around at the guys' eyes. And you know, everybody still felt absolutely we're in this game. So
I still remember Mick X talking at quarter time and being very buoyant.
Yeah. There's no doubt we're up, and even though we're 45 points down, we just genuinely thought that, you know, we were going to get back into the game, and then you know, I think we went into half time 18 points down, and. And so, you know, from there,
against the wind.
That's right. Yep. And came out and had a fantastic third quarter, and then it just looked like, you know, in the last quarter, once we got the ball out of the middle, and I snuck a little handball off to Luke Nicholas, and he kicked a goal from about 50 out on the run, which he doesn't do that often, and and you know, you just thought we were going to steamroll them, you know, like. You just think, geez, we're going to run all over them here, and then they really dug in, and then it was just an arm wrestle, you know. For the last 10, 15 minutes of the game, the ball was just rolling around on the ground in stoppages, and it's just utter desperation.
Yeah. You watch that footage still and sort of pinch yourself and think,
I've seen it a couple of times, but there's just so many. You know, incredible individual efforts, just diving on the ball and grappling opponents, and just booting the ball forward, and it just goes all style and structure and everything just goes completely out the door in those sort of moments. And you just got to get the ball going forward, and you just got to stop the opposition when they've got it. It just becomes a very, very simple game at that point in time. And we scrapped it and got the win, and it was just absolute elation.
Two pretty special premierships, I would have thought, for different reasons.
Definitely, definitely. No doubt the first one was sort of emotion fueled, and obviously I was a bit younger, but and this one was felt like the culmination of a lot of hard work that had gone in over the previous sort of 3 years to really set the culture right, set the environment right from a playing perspective, and make sure we're on the right track. And so to get that premiership was obviously a reward for that. So it was very exciting.
And how many years are left in the leagues?
Weeks or years? Look, I honestly couldn't say at this stage. There's no question there's been thoughts of retirement this year, but I'll see what happens, I suppose. Well, I think that it would be good for the senior players to be around for another year. There's probably a couple more that there's a couple of guys that might have 2 left in them, but I'd say I'll be either this year or next year.
So I know it's a big if, but if we made A grade, you wouldn't be tempted to.
That's why it's hard to sort of say now. You've got to sit back and see what happens. But the temptation both ways is still there. If you make A grade, it's there's a temptation to play, and if you don't make A grade, there's still a temptation to get there. So there's still a temptation, but I'll just assess it at the end of the year and see how I feel. It's got to that stage, I suppose, now where I can say that. But this time last year I wasn't thinking about it, and now I am. So you get to that stage, I suppose.
Okay. Last question I had for you was just what's the club meant to you over the years?
Oh look, it's just a part of who I am. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. It's given me a huge chunk of my friendships, it's given me a huge chunk of my memories, it's given me fantastic opportunities, both at the club and outside of the club. And it's just a part of who I've grown up to be, and it's played an enormous role in who I am. So it's vitally important, and I've loved it. I've absolutely loved it, and I love the place. And no matter what happens, I'll still be around and supporting, no doubt, in some capacity.
Thanks, mate. Have you got any questions here?
No, that's fine. That's really good. Very good.